JFD, just fair and direct.
Okay, hello and good morning everyone. Welcome to JFD Traders Espresso with me, Darius Anucauskas. Today is the the 22nd of July 2020. So yep, welcome everyone. Welcome to this Wednesday's morning session where we're going to have a quick look at the markets and view the charts, the usual stuff. But before we do that, as always, let's quickly have a read through our risk disclaimers. So the content we produce does not constitute investment advice or investment recommendation, should not be considered as such, and does not in any way constitute an invitation to acquire any financial instrument or product. As always, I'll give you a few seconds to read the rest, and we can continue. Okay, so now then, before we jump into the charts, as always, let's quickly have a read through our risk disclaimers. Or actually, sorry, we already did that, so do apologize. Let's go jump into the our JFD YouTube channel, to which you can always subscribe to in order not to miss any of our upcoming videos, and of course our JFD Bank website, and specifically our JFD research page, which we also update on a daily basis. So yep, feel free to visit us here on jfdbank.com and click on the research tab right there on the top. Now, let's have a quick update on what's happening here globally in terms of the coronavirus. Now, as you can see, the figure continues to rise, and yesterday we had another surge. Of course, not a record surge, but nevertheless a surge, so quite a decent one. So yep, the figure has already climbed, well, according to some sources it has climbed above 15 million. Here it's still slightly below, but maybe it's just lagging a little bit. Nevertheless, the situation is not very pleasant. Of course, the US, we can see that it's getting close to that 4 million figure, and Brazil is around 2, and India is around 1 million of infected. Of course, the total deaths, that's very important to keep an eye on, but again, yeah, for now, it is how it is, guys. So let's see how the market is behaving in relation to that. Now, the market seems to be ignoring this fact for now. It is kind of pushing higher. However, here, for example, today the Nikkei, despite having a good run yesterday, today it kind of declined a little bit, not much, but nevertheless remained above this short-term upside support line taken from the low, the 15th of June, in a way, what I was saying, that in order for us to get excited about higher levels, of course, a push above this barrier here, the high of the 15th of July, would be needed, and that level is around the 22,965 zone, so we're waiting for a push above that. In terms of the downside, a drop below the subside line, of course, and a drop below the 22,285 zone could do the trick for more sellers. Now, jumping into Shanghai Composite very quickly. So this one is trading in the positive territory today. It managed to move above this level that I talked about, the 3,336 territory. That's, by the way, the highest point of March of 2018. And what I was saying yesterday and then on Monday, that in order to aim for some higher levels, we would need to see a nice good push above this barrier, above this 3,336 level. But yesterday we had a good test of it, but it failed to kind of move above it. And today, yes, we are having a nice push. So in a way, if the price stays above this area, if daily candle stays above this area, then there's a good likelihood we could see this one climbing back up here towards the current highest point of July and near the 3,457 territory. So keep your eyes on that one. Now jumping into German DAX. So the index yesterday closed in the positive territory, so that's good news, but it kind of failed. It did have a false breakout here above this 13,236 territory, the one that I talked about, and that's the high of the 24th of February. But as you can see, it kind of closed the day below it, and this way kind of forming forming a shooting star here. So yep, in a way this could be seen as maybe a possible reversal sign. However, don't get me wrong, even if it drops a little bit lower here, still this could move lower, but still, as long as it stays above the subside support line taken from the low 19th of March, overall we'll stay positive with this one. And for example, looking at the cash index and where it's currently balancing at, we can see that the price is currently moving at around 13,126 territory on the cash index, so basically slightly below yesterday's close. So that means that in a way we could get ourselves a bit of an opening gap here to the downside, and this way we could be getting here a nice island reversal here, guys. So yep, keep your eyes on that one. And in a way, as I mentioned before here, when I was covering these little island reversals here on the DAX, yes, we did have the declines after that. The only time where it didn't kind of really work out was here, for example, on the 13th of July, and on the 14th it opened lower, drifted a little bit to the downside, but you can see the next day kind of started climbing higher. So this is kind of the same kind of rule applies here again. So yes, the fact that it could be forming this potential island reversal, still be very careful here, guys, because in a way today, for example, it could drift a little bit lower, but if it still stays somewhere above this this June high here near the 12,913 zone, then yep, another round of buying could be possible. Now then, so jumping into another index very quickly here, guys. And by the way, keep your eyes on the data. There's a bit of data coming out today. So we have some information from the US. Not much, not major maybe, but we do have the existing home sales today in the US, together with the crude oil inventories. And from Canada, we do have the CPI figures, so both month-on-month and year-on-year numbers, and also both core and headline. So something to keep an eye on. But I'll jump into USDCAD shortly. But first, DXY here, and you can see this is what I was talking about from the beginning of this week. So I was telling you guys to keep a close eye on this 95.72 territory, which, as you can see, managed to fail to kind of provide support, and yesterday we had a nice drop lower, and yes, first of all we had a nice daily close below it, and way now there is a good chance this could continue further south. What I was mentioning previously, that I'm not going to target anything further below the 94.65 yet. First, that's going to be my main target. We'll see how it performs around here. If it, for example, provides decent support, we could see a nice rebound here and a push back maybe to the upside. But again, for now, let's keep it short and simple. For now, let's target the 94.65 level, which is marked by the lowest point of March, and then we'll take it from there. Of course, if that gets broken and we see a nice daily close below this area, then yep, lower levels could be met, guys. Now, jumping into gold, and you can see that the weaker US dollar is kind of helping out here. Gold yesterday climbed higher. It managed to test this 1844 to 45 zone that I talked about, and it continued to accelerate. And this morning, for example, we saw gold hitting already a new kind of high, not an all-time high of course, but a new 11-year high. And you can see here, and let me just actually quickly double check this very quickly, guys. So let me just jump into a monthly chart. Probably that's going to be an easier thing to do. So sorry, not an 11-year high, a 9-year high, and yep, it's now kind of seems to be willing to push further north. As I mentioned yesterday in my one of my videos where I was covering gold, and what I was saying that in a way the next target for us, of course, is this all-time high near the which is the highest, marked by the highest point of September 2011, and at the same time, like I said, it is the all-time high for now, 1921 level. So let's see if we manage to reach that area, and the most important, let's see if we manage to overcome it, because of course there are some speculation already that maybe this level is not going to be even enough for the buyers here, and we could go all the way towards that psychological 2000 zone. But again, let's of course not overdo it. Let's go step by step on this one. For now, yes, we continue to lean to the upside. However, given the already sharp kind of acceleration to the upside, preferably a push above this current high, today's high, or should I say the current high of today, near the 1866 level. A nice good push above it could, yep, open the door towards slightly higher levels. But like I said, we'll need to be very careful here. We may get maybe a bit of a correction here at some point to the downside, and if let's say if the commodity continues to balance above the 21-day EMA, then still the outlook could remain positive. Now if this if the price starts falling below the 21-day EMA here, which as you can see here previously acted as a very nice area of support, this could increase the chances for gold to move lower. So that's why be very careful. In a way, from the shorter term perspective, how we could look at this is if we get a move back below the 1844 territory, somewhere around here, then if we do see a daily close below it, then yep, we could consider that larger correction to the downside a little bit. So yeah guys, for now, keep your eyes on this one, be very careful, and let's see how far this can go higher. Now, WTI Oil, now I talked about this one yesterday in my Trader's Tea Time, and basically the commodity was popping higher, was finally moving above this June high near the 41.61 level. But what I was saying in my video yesterday, that in a way, wait for that daily close, because as you can see, if I'll zoom in here a little bit, we had a close below this barrier, and basically the bulls kind of failed to keep the daily candle above it. And of course, don't get me wrong, the fact that we stayed above the 200-day EMA, yes, puts a bit of positivity, puts a bit of a positive spin on all this. However, the June high acted as a very strong area of resistance. So today we're seeing a violation of that area. Yes, there is a possibility to kind of see further move higher. However, don't get me wrong, it's just the start of the day, so that's why be very careful, guys. Let's wait for that daily close above this barrier, above this June high, and then yes, we could aim for some higher levels. For now, it's a little bit of a tricky one, and like I said, today we do have the US crude oil inventories coming out, so keep your eyes on that as well. Bitcoin, now this one, I've talked about this one yesterday as well, and I was telling you guys to keep a close eye on this downside line, and let me just show you what this downside line is. And that's basically the this long-term downside resistance line taken from the highest point of December 2017, and it continues to provide resistance, as you can see, guys. So basically, before kind of aiming for some higher levels, we need to see a nice good break above this, and also at least a daily close above it, in order to kind of get a little bit more excited with higher areas. Now, in terms of the downside, we would need to see a drop below this upside support line taken from the low of the 30th of April, and then we could aim for some let's say lower areas. Now, jumping into NZDUSD here. Now, I talked about this pair yesterday as well, and that was the fact that we managed to get a nice pop above this 0.6580 zone, of course, kind of created this more positive atmosphere. What I was saying, that the next target for me will be the 0.6665 level, marked by the high of the 16th of January. And you can see that this is where a current holdup is occurring. So in a way, we've reached our target. So now the big question here is, can it continue pushing further north? Of course, we do have another good potential target here, which is the highest point of December 2019 near the 0.6755 zone. But in order to get comfortable with kind of aiming for that level, we would like to see a nice move, a strong push above this barrier right here, which was our previous target, and like that's why we want to be very careful here. And if it, for example, struggles to overcome this, then maybe we could see a bit of a correction here to the downside. But if it gets a nice push here and it remains and the daily candle stays above this barrier, 0.6665 level, then yes, the highest point of December 2019 could be our next target. In terms of the downside here, well, how we could look at this from the short-term perspective, if by any chance the rate starts falling back below the 0.6580 territory, yep, we will aim for some lower levels, but only up until this upside support line taken from the low, the 19th of March. AUD/JPY, so a similar story here, it managed to get a nice push higher above the 75.16 territory, and the next target for us right now is the 76.79 level, marked by the highest point of June. Now you can see that it's getting closer to that area. We'll keep an eye on it carefully, because if it provides decent resistance, of course, the similar story as with NZDUSD, we could see a bit of a correction here. However, a nice good push above this could yep, open the door towards even further further move higher. But again, because at the same time it would confirm a forthcoming higher high and more buyers could be joining in, so that's why for now be very careful. We could start aiming maybe somewhere for this little level here near the 77.54-55 zone, marked by the low of the 25th of March 2019. But again, like I said, for now, from the very short-term perspective, we are aiming for that June high near the 76.79, and then we'll take it from there. If we get a nice push above it, then the next target is that 77.54 level that I just mentioned. In terms of the downside here, it's very straightforward. We need to see a break of this upside support line, and this one's taken from the low of the 2nd of April. At the same time, the rate would be placed below the 75.16 territory, and then yep, further declines could be possible. So keep your eyes on that one. Now, yes, so USDCAD, this is what I mentioned in the beginning of this video. USDCAD is quite interesting because yesterday I talked about this pair, and I was telling you guys to keep a close eye on this barrier, the 1.3488 zone this week. Also on Monday I started talking about this pair, and I was mentioning this level, and finally we got a nice drop below it. We got a nice daily close below it, so now in a way it can kind of there is a possibility for this one to move further south. The next target for us could be the lowest point of June here near the 1.3314 zone, so keep your eyes on that one. And today, again, like I said, also keep your eyes on the economic calendar. We do have the Canadian inflation numbers coming out, so let's see what kind of an effect we will have here. For now, the forecast is the forecast is on the slightly higher side. So for the headline numbers, for the core, there seems to be no forecast available yet, but the headline numbers are expected to have risen a little bit. If so, maybe we could see this one retracing. If it comes out better than the expected numbers, then the yep, we could see this pair kind of moving further south here, yep, we could see a possible test of this lowest point of June near the 1.3314. Quick update on GBPUSD. I've talked about this one yesterday, and basically for now everything's kind of moving nicely here in the scenario that I talked about yesterday. So with the fact that we managed to get a nice break above this 1.2669 level, opened the door towards slightly higher levels, and the next level that I was mentioning before was that is the highest point of June near the 1.2813. We're only going to target that for now because we want to see how it's going to perform around here, and will it not eventually kind of start forming a possible kind of a big possible ascending triangle here. But again, that's in the scenario if we get a test of this 1.2813 territory and then a sharp reversal back down. So yeah, something for you kind of to keep in mind. But again, for now, we are leaning a little bit more to the upside here, at least towards the highest point of June near the 1.2813. And finally, Euro USD. So this one had a fantastic rally yesterday, and we've managed to create a new high for this year. We managed to overcome the March high, which was previously that that highest point. And look at this movement, and this is basically what I was talking about yesterday in my video, in the morning video as well, in my Traders Tea Time, that we were still hanging around here. And what I was saying, that if this barrier right here, the 1.1422, continues to provide us decent support, we could see this one pushing higher and hitting the the highest point of this year, which, well, the previous highest point of this year, near the 1.1496. And this is exactly what happened. The pair continued to balance above the 1.1422 and ended up testing this level here, the 1.1496, so even overshooting it. And today we saw a bit of a further push north. We had a test of the 1.1547 territory, and you can see now the rate is kind of declining a little bit. Now, don't get me wrong, the pair could correct a little bit to the downside. However, now all eyes are going to be on this highest point of March, near the 1.1496, and if it provides decent support, then we could see another round of buying and possibly even overcoming this current high of today. And then, yes, we will take it from there. The next target here above the 1.1547 could be, and this is where we need to go back a little bit into history, the next little target here could be around this little peak of the highest point of January 2019, guys. And let me just double check, and that's actually the highest point of 2019, and that's roughly around the 1.1570 territory. So a very strong possible area of resistance near and not far from here, where the pair is currently trading at. So 1.1570 could be that nice target to watch. That's the highest point of 2019. So let's see how this is going to play out. But for now, as you can see, the pair is correcting a little bit lower. Let's see if the highest point of March will provide support. If it does, then yes, we will aim for that highest point of 2019. If it fails, if this 1.1496 level fails, then we may get a bit of a larger correction to the downside, because don't forget that we're still trading above this upside support line taken from the low of the 14th of May. So in a way, this move lower up until this upside line could still be seen as a temporary correction before another leg of buying. So guys, I really hope you found it useful, and thank you very much for joining in and watching this one till the end. I really appreciate that, and I hope, like I said, I hope you found it useful. If you want to catch my video later on, my Traders Tea Time is always 13:15 GMT time. For now, guys, I hope you have a wonderful trading day. Stay safe, and I'll see you later. Thank you very much, and bye-bye.